Gene here. Welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, where every single week we answer the most common and uncommon questions about tapping and EFT so you can get the most out of your EFT practice. As a reminder, this month's Donors Only bonus podcast is being published next week. If you'd like to receive the Donors Only special podcast, as well as a bunch of other amazing gifts, all you need to do is go to tappingqa.com/support. Or in the show notes, just click on the support link and you can get that. If you haven't done so already, go to tappingpodcast.com so you can get information on how you can receive every episode of the Tapping Q&A podcast absolutely free, delivered to you on your smartphone, on your computer, on your home speaker device like your Alexa, tappingpodcast.com. And a few weeks ago, I did a podcast on professional jealousy and my struggle with that. And we did some great tapping, really amazing feedback on that. If you'd like to check that out, tappingpodcast.com, click on the link for episode 329. This is Gene Monterastelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, recorded live to tape in Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 333, originally aired October 17th, 2018. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Today, I'm going to answer the question, what sort of tapping do I do every single day? It's a question I get a lot from my clients. And so you can see how me, someone who is a tapping professional, actually integrates tapping into my daily life. If you haven't done so already, make sure you sign up for our free 10-part guide on how you can use tapping to eliminate self-sabotage. A lot of this daily tapping stuff is included in that. All you need to do is go to tappingqa.com, click on the big blue button. If you happen to be listening to this in the website right now, in the right-hand column up at the top, you can click on the blue button and you can subscribe and get it for free. I'm asked regularly by my clients how I tap on my own. They appreciate the fact that we get an opportunity to do some one-on-one work, but they know that they can get more out of their tapping sessions than just tapping with me or just tapping along to the recordings that I provide to them so they can go back and re-tap on what we did. And so I'm asked a lot, how do I tap? And one, I work with a practitioner. That's a really useful thing to do. The other is there's three basic ways that I tap. The first way that I tap every single day is I tap on my to-do list. And that's a process where I look at the tasks that I have for today. I make sure I get emotionally clear so I can be successful. I go into great detail on how to do that in bonus podcast 43. So if you go to tappingpodcast.com and you start scrolling down the list, I used to have regular podcasts and bonus podcasts the way that I numbered them. So once you start seeing some bonus episodes, go to 43. 43 is one of the later ones, so it'll be at the top of the list. You will see how I tap to my to-do list. The second type of tapping I do is when I have a really particular issue that I need to tap on, like something has come up. I'm feeling overwhelmed, disappointed, jealousy, something. I recognize there's a limiting belief. When I do that, I have 13 tapping tools that I typically reach for. All of those tapping tools can be found in my book, Comprehensive Anger Management, which again is not an anger book. It was just framed that way because the audience it was originally written for was looking to solve the problem of their anger, not realizing they needed a more comprehensive emotional intelligence. You can get a free copy of that book by going to tappingqa.com/anger, tappingqa.com/anger. You can download a free version of that, a PDF, so you can use those tools right away. The third way that I tap on my own is I use something that I call the setup phrase generator, and I'm going to demonstrate in real time exactly how I use that and show you how to get access to that absolutely free. If you have listened to any of my teleclass, any of the tap along audios that I provide in the podcast, if you've worked with me as a client, you notice that I do not use the traditional setup phrase, even though I have this issue, insert issue, I love and accept myself. And there's a really specific reason for this. It's not that I don't think love and acceptance is important. I actually think it's really, really important. And it's one of the primary goals of the work that I do is to get myself and to get my clients to be comfortable inside of their own skin. And that comes from a place of love and acceptance of ourself. But the reason why I typically don't start with the setup phrase is sometimes the setup phrase can actually get in the way of the work that we're doing. And this is the reason why. Let's pretend that we're tapping for something like knee pain. Not necessarily, there might be an emotional component, there might not be an emotional component, but we're starting with knee pain. And if we start off that tapping by going, even though I have this knee pain, I love and accept myself. If there is a part of you or there's a part of me that really struggles with that idea of self-acceptance, all of a sudden I've brought all of those self-esteem and self-acceptance issues to the surface. And those might have nothing to do with my knee pain. So instead of just tapping for my knee pain, I now have two issues to tap for, and the self-acceptance thing is so big, I can no longer see the knee pain. Now, if I'm working with a client, and as it is unfolding and as we're doing work, we recognize that there are issues of acceptance that are making it difficult for us to heal this, then I'm going to start introducing that naturally in the tapping that we're doing, but I don't start there. But for this third type of tapping I do every day, because it is specifically around loving and accepting myself, then I love using the setup phrase. And over the years, studying with different people along the way, heard all sorts of stories about love and acceptance, or love and I might not love myself, but I accept the possibility that I can love myself. And there's lots of different versions of that setup phrase. And so a number of years ago, what I did with the help of a friend of mine who is a computer programmer is I created something called the setup phrase generator. And what the setup phrase generator does, kind of like Mad Libs, it generates 2,500 different unique setup phrases that kind of approach the problem in different ways. And the really cool thing is, if you go to the website and you load up the page, what it will do is it'll give you 10 of these uniquely created, randomly generated setup phrases. And if you refresh the page, it'll give you 10 more. And if you refresh the page, it'll give you 10 more. And what it does is it gives us lots of different entry points into figuring out the things we struggle with around loving and accepting ourselves. And so you have access to it if you go to EFTsetupphrasegenerator.com. Again, it's absolutely free. EFTsetupphrasegenerator.com. You will be able to see that particular tool. You can reload it. You can use it over and over again. You can print out the lists. I'll also include a link in the show notes. If you're listening to this in a podcatcher or on the website, you'll see a link right there where you can get access to this. Again, absolutely free. So this is the way that I do it, because not all of the phrases are going to be absolutely perfect. So I just load the page up and I start tapping. And so I have in front of me a printed out version from when I did that recently, and I just start tapping along. And if I come across a phrase that isn't exactly perfect, I'll rewrite it to make it work. We'll see how this goes. And if there are particular phrases that are really ringing true, I'm going to mark it and I'm really going to resonate with it. Tap along with me. Because of the length of these particular phrases, I'm not going to leave space for you to repeat them back because you can go generate your own. But just listen to my words and move from tapping point to tapping point. Each time you hear a little bit of a pause, just move on to the next tapping point. You can start with the karate chop point, or you can start anywhere else. So from point to point, here we go. Even though I may not love and accept myself as I am just yet, I give myself permission to know that I'm not going to be stuck here forever. I am willing to consider the possibility that I can be kind to myself anyway, even though I can hardly think. Even though I'm afraid this won't work and I'll never be well, I choose to be easy with myself. Even though I have this issue, I am still a lovable person. Even though I have this issue and I'm at my wit's end, I forgive myself for being this way. Even though I'm worried it's never going to change, I give myself permission to believe that someday I might think it's possible to not feel this way. Even though I have this issue, I know I am more than this one aspect of my life. Even though if I heal this issue, I won't have an excuse for my life being messed up. I'm willing to consider the possibility that I can be kind to myself anyway. I accept myself, I respect myself, and I love myself. Even though I don't know what I'm doing, even though I don't know what's going to happen to me tomorrow, I am still a good person, even though I don't want to forgive the people who have ruined my life. So that was actually a situation where there wasn't any of them I really had to change, that the grammar actually made sense. Sometimes you'll find that it doesn't make sense perfectly. Now, as I tapped through that, of the 10 that I tapped through, a couple of them really resonated and a couple of them didn't resonate at all. So if I was going to do this again, what I would do is I would go back through the list, and the ones that really resonate with me, I would actually do a full round of tapping just on that one. Even though I have this issue, I'm still a lovable person. Even though I have this issue, I'm still a lovable person. Even though I have this issue, and just move from point to point, repeating it over and over again. And so what this does is it gives you the opportunity to work your way into some of these issues and concerns about the healing process and how we love ourselves. But because of the random nature of it, it's kind of poking around there in ways that aren't immediately obvious to you. And it's going to give you access and insight into some of your issues. And so you can keep using that phrase again. You can take that issue and surface and use one of those tools that I talked about earlier, or it's something you actually take to your practitioner and say, hey, I was tapping on my own. This is what I discovered. This is actually something that's in the way. So it's a free resource. It's really easy to use. You don't have to print them out. You can actually just look at them on the webpage, hit refresh the page, get 10 new ones. EFTsetupphrasegenerator.com, EFTsetupphrasegenerator.com. It's absolutely free. There's no sign up there. You just have access to it. Use it over and over again. Print the scripts out. Use them however you would like. I would love to hear your experience with it. And if you have some other creative way that you're using it, let me know. I can always be reached, Gene, Gene, at tappingqna.com. I love hearing from you. If you haven't done so already, visit tappingpodcast.com so you can figure out how you can get every episode going forward absolutely free. Sign up for the 10-part guide to eliminate self-sabotage with tapping and EFT. Just click on the big blue button at tappingqna.com. If you know someone in your life who could use this tool, please pass it along. Don't spam your inbox and send it to everyone, but you might know someone who would be interested and willing to try something wacky, like using a computer that's giving them random phrases to tap to. It'll make a difference in their life. And if you are making a life better that is next to you, you are making your life better as well. We get a chance to just send this rippling effects of healing out into the world that makes a difference for all of us. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have a topic you'd like us to cover, an interview you'd like us to do, heading into November and December, we're going to be doing a lot of really awesome interviews. Please, please, please let me know topics and people you'd like me to talk to. Some of the best episodes I've ever done have come from recommendations from listeners just like you. Don't forget, next week, the bonus supporters only podcast is coming out where I talk about some really amazing client sessions I've had this week where you get a chance to hear application of this tool set, as well as answering lots of questions from listeners and readers just like you. Go to tappingqna.com/support. Links to all of these things are in the show notes. For the Tapping Q&A podcast, this is Gene Monterastelli. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye. The Tapping Q&A podcast is copyright Gene Monterastelli, Tapping Q&A 2016. All views expressed by guests are those of the guests and not necessarily of Gene Monterastelli or Tapping Q&A.